All right, my guest today is Bryan Huberty, Director of Run Specialty for Sneaker Impact. Bryan, how are you doing? Thanks for coming on the show.
Hi, Matt. Yeah, I'm feeling great. Really exciting time to talk to you about Sneaker Impact.
Well, I got to tell you, I can't even guess how many customers come into the store and they're pleasantly surprised when we tell them you don't have to throw your old shoes in the trash. I'm already psyched on the message and the mission of Sneaker Impact. And then it just makes me even more stoked when I see customers lighting up like, I don't have to throw this away. You know, usually the cycle is you wear it and then you wear it doing gardening, lawn mowing, and then it goes in the garbage.
You can do that too.
Yeah.
That's how it was in the 80s, in the 70s before, like our parents. I remember my dad, funny story, he would wear shoes for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I grew up in Wisconsin and things are a lot more simple there than where I live in Miami right now. But life is always fairly simple. It's just a series of actions, and recycling is an important one that, being raised in Wisconsin, I was made aware of as even a first grader, as a 5-year-old, as it was a big part of my life growing up, was just camping and fishing and also gardening. We were gardening from a young age in our backyard, growing our own vegetables. My mom had us gardening, and even the suburbs, we were gardening. My brother turned into an organic farmer. So I've always been very environmentally minded my entire life. But I went to college and got an environmental degree as well. And then now I work for an environmental company, combining my passion of running and recycling and education to grow this brand that's so cool that I'm honored to be a part of. And tell you a little bit about the formation story if you want to know that, if your audience wants to know.
Yeah, let's start with how Sneaker Impact got started and just a little more specifics on what you do.
Yeah, so Sneaker Impact was founded, I don't quote me on the exact date, but 2020 to 2021 period. And it was formed by an export company in Miami called Coastal Export. And the founder's name is Mo Hachem. And he is Lebanese, and him and his family run the company, and also employees from all over Central and South America that have come here to live in Miami naturally and already become citizens perhaps. But we have a very interesting crew, and everyone's, I'm probably the only one from the Midwest there, but we have a lot of Haitian workers there that work with us. We have other people that are Spanish speaking. We have Creole spoken every day in the office. But again, it was founded in 2020 by a larger export company that, has a large facility in the Little Haiti area. It's called Little River technically, but it's near Little Haiti in Miami. So this export company created it as a passion project. Mo created it as a passion project. And it's a social enterprise. That's one of the first things we always tell people that Mo and I like to talk about is it's not a nonprofit. It's a social enterprise. We do good for people and the planet. And we are a for-profit company. And we have a transparent business model and a proprietary program or two. And we're doing a lot of research and development and education, but basically we recycle shoes for the public and for businesses and the running community and many different organizations throughout the US mainly, but we also have a European division. And then the shoes are exported to 20 plus countries, even upwards of dozens of countries worldwide, mainly Central and South America and the Hispaniola Islands of Haiti and Dominican Republic and other countries that need these shoes. The shoes are going to live a second life. So the big three mandates are all the shoes leave the country because they are not needed here as much. And we can talk about how there are programs for people that need them here. Mm-hmm. But the secondhand market also can use these shoes to create economic opportunities. And we support local programs, but we encourage also to not throw shoes in the trash, which is what 87% of the public throws. And the recent Google statistic is 87% of shoes are thrown away annually in the US. So only 13% are recycled. That could be upwards of 400 million plus shoes being thrown into landfills and making their ways also into rivers and oceans and lakes and all types of areas they shouldn't be. We are educating the public nonstop. We have a free program. They can go on our website, sneakerimpact.com, and request a mailer bag. It's compostable. It can hold up to 7 pairs of shoes. We give them out at marathon expos that we're educators at, and you can mail it back to us free of charge. We provide a FedEx label on every mailer bag and box that we give the public and organizations that we work with. It's a free solution for everyone to get involved, and to upcycle is giving it a second life, or recycle would be our end of life grinding program, which is 10% or so of the shoes we receive cannot live a second life because the bottom of the shoe most likely does not have any life left. And we're not talking the 200 to 400 miles that runners put on their shoes, or even 500 to 1,000. A shoe will still be good after 1,000 miles in general. It's when a shoe is really, beat up and destroyed and is down to its, you're even got holes in the bottom, in the midsole. Anything on the upper can be repaired by the small business micro merchants that we work with. And that's what we're all about, is we've created hundreds of jobs in Central and Latin America and South America. Our founder right now is in Chile. He's going on a tour of Chile, Peru, and Bolivia right now. I just talked to him yesterday from Run Summit in St. Louis. He's in Bolivia meeting with our partners, and he has strong connections all around the world. He's been doing this his entire life. That's another thing to tell you. Our founder has been in the recycling industry with the export company. It recycled and did send shoes naturally, but it was more sometimes, some newer shoes too, that it's not everything is donated by the public and collected by running stores. We also are in gyms. There's overstock. There's things that happen in the shoe industry, and we will collect the shoes and get them to a home and a pair of feet that need them. Our founder says that a good pair of running or walking shoes, which is what we most can use, is like a Honda or a car for someone. And when I train in Guatemala, I see it firsthand. As a marathon runner, I've trained in Guatemala 7 to 10 times, and I go up into the mountains with a friend in a group. And we have taken shoes even up into schools where the kids in elementary school don't always have shoes on their feet. And then even for adults, they might get it's just not affordable to import a brand new pair of shoes. They rely on the secondhand market, which is what Sneaker Impact is all about. 75% of the world depends on the secondhand market, Matt. And the US makes up 4.23% of the world's population. I looked this up the other day because I want to make sure I have it right. The United States makes up less than 5% of the world's total global population, but we consume, according to recent estimates, 25% of global resources.
Wow.
And we don't depend on the secondhand market at all. I really have not seen it anywhere I've traveled. So this is my belief. It's not the company's necessarily belief, Bryan, the botanist. We need to be more aware of the secondhand market and how the stuff that we might throw away could be used also in your community or internationally. And there are companies like Sneaker Impact that will make that happen and have perfected the process. We literally have perfected and made it turnkey. And now so many stores have gotten involved. So it's just really exciting to see. And I've been with the company for a little over 2 years, and I work specifically in the run category. We also have gyms, universities. I do go speak to universities for Earth Day last month. So that's given you and we go to marathons. Last year, we went to the Miami Marathon the last couple of years, Los Angeles, a couple other great ones, Flying Pig in Cincinnati near you guys.
Yep.
The Air Force Marathon in Dayton, Ohio, just some really great races invited us to be part of their event. And we're always open to getting involved with run clubs, the race scene. I'm a runner, so I'm passionate about, going to all these events and stores. I really enjoy what I just did at Run Summit because it wasn't hard. It was fun, to educate and talk and just interact with people. And they're all curious and they have great ideas too. And we're learning from everyone. So it's just a really fun time to be in the recycling and running industry. People are responding well, but again, only 13% of Americans are recycling right now. So their shoes, I should say, 90+% of Americans, according to statistics, want to recycle. We have to show them an easy solution, an easy process, just like it is with your water bottle, which people should be recycling, those plastics or those paper that you can recycle or compost. Shoes should have a process eventually with, some of the municipalities and powers that be, that we make it highly recommended that you just, get them to the right place, whether it's educating even through your program and we just need to get the word out about it so that the other 87% of people know that there's a free solution.
Yeah. It's so easy, so simple. From our perspective, if you live in the Lexington area, just go to John's Run Walk Shop, drop off an old pair of shoes.
There you go.
We'll put it in the Sneaker Impact box, or we'll take the box to races that we put on. So it's really easy for people to do that. And I think there's just a lack of awareness. And that's why it's 87% of people are just throwing these in the garbage. We just think that's what you do. Well, even if you're environmentally minded.
Or they're just too busy. They might not know what to do, or it might be a mistake, or it might be, or it could just be that they're too busy or stressed out. We've all lived in those situations where moving days here. But what I would encourage people to do is look through their garage and closet. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't worn your shoe for a year, or any clothing or anything, I think that if you don't use something in a yearly basis, it might be time to just downsize a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I live by a quote. I just wanted to bring this up. I don't know if you're going to have a favorite quote, but live simply so that others may simply live, by Gandhi.
Yes.
I truly believe that we don't need as much stuff, guys. And our demand is what drives the market. I study the market as well, and it's fascinating and it's also scary. Mm-hmm. And we have a major responsibility. We are not in control of nature. We are part of nature. Mm-hmm. And so I'm very passionate about the environmental stewardship, part, but also the social responsibility. We're creating jobs with the shoes, and these shoes don't need to get thrown away. They can create jobs and incomes. And people are putting their kids through school. People that work at Sneaker Impact that have markets in Haiti have put their kids through university with some of the money that they make.
That's phenomenal.
They've moved their way up from being an employee of the export company to running their own business out of Haiti. I met a woman last week. We have a whole bunch of beautiful Haitian people that work with us, and it's really cool to interact with them because they are just really, they bring so much love also to the process. And then we have people in Guatemala, Honduras, but Haiti is our number one country that we work with right now. Okay. It's so close to Miami, but people ask, we can't go to Cuba. Unfortunately, we love our Cuban people. But we just can't, unfortunately, export there. Mm-hmm. But we are exporting to even, Africa and South America. And even I heard the Ukraine is getting some of our shoes, but I don't know specifics awesome. Too much. I just stay in the education lane. Yeah. But our founder goes much deeper.
Yeah, that's great. I love that it's not just an environmental message. It's also about people. Do you have any more specific case studies that you can share, success stories?
Yeah, let me think about that. There's some really cool employees at Sneaker Impact besides myself, and I've gotten to know them. And I'm just impressed. They're learning a lot together about, how to grind a shoe, and they might not have ever thought that they were going to learn how to do that, how to take off the upper, grind the bottom, separate it. It's a research and development project that is taking, a lot of input because it's not as easy as it sounds. And there's different, methods, and there's AI now, and there's, sensors, and it gets expensive. But then the people that work for the company are locals, and they are getting an education and also teaching us how to do it because they're very creative. One of our foremen, his name is Freddie, and he's a local Haitian guy, and he's 51 years old, but he looks like he's 35, and he's got the muscles. He's like the super built guy. Anything I need done, he can do it for me. And so he's the foreman of the company, and he brings the booth into all the expos for me because it's a lot of work and, getting out there in the nation. And that's what we do. We tour the nation. So we've got a great supporting crew. Our founder travels with me. Sometimes we went to TRE, the running event in Austin. I saw John's there as well. John's was at Run Summit this week. And John's is always asking me great questions about using other products and that you guys collect, like inserts and, how to track. We've sent better reporting in the last year. Now we send out emails with every box that report the exact amount of carbon saved, which is 17.5 kilograms per pair of shoes. I think that's about 40 pounds of carbon saved per shoe. Yeah. And then also the different categories, because there's some end of life. We have an end of life category, which is usually about 10%. And then we have a good category, which is called good sneakers, and then a casual mixed. Yeah. But Sneaker Impact has some really cool people behind it. We're a smaller, company startup, but we're a couple of years old, and we're just doing our best to build. We have a social media manager that is also incredible that I want to give a shout out to. Mm-hmm. Yeah, named Lisa, and she's posting every single day on Instagram for us. And we have a very educational Instagram page where you will see behind the scenes of our facility. You'll see me from some of the podcasts, and like Matt, and we have a podcast too that we just started. And so we're really excited just to educate and share the message. And give you a little behind the scenes look of the shoes being repaired. We can repair almost any shoe that has a bottom left on it. They can make them look white again. They can rebuild them in certain ways, like the heel collar.
Okay. Yeah. And I think some people wonder that, like, is there any condition that's just too terrible for you to take?
The classic example is at the Flying Pig Expo last year. We still took them, but someone brought us a pair of shoes that they had been cutting the lawn with for like 5 years. They were just like,
Wow.
You couldn't even see what type of shoe they were.
Yeah.
So I think that's the worst shoe I've ever gotten in my life.
Mm-hmm.
We still took it, but I don't know. That will just go like into a separate bagged biohazard. Or, obviously we don't want anything wet. That's an important thing to know, is only ship dry shoes, because that would cause mold.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So like, obviously like anything with like blood or vomit or anything, like, sweat we can clean. Believe it or not, the runners I work with are so funny about, oh, you don't want my stinky shoes. And I'm a runner. So I'm like, trust me, I know about the stinky shoes because I'm a runner and I've been doing marathons for 20 years almost. And I go to run clubs, and my car, I put the shoes in sometimes, and it's not a big deal. And I've never gotten sick from the shoes, and the running stores don't complain because the boxes have a top on them. Just put the shoes in dry. That's the big thing. Don't bring them right from the mud fest. You can even hose them down and then let them dry down. If they were at a mud run and you want to donate them, hose them down really good, or dunk them in water. Actually, is what we do at our facility. They put them in buckets, and then they like put detergent in there and they agitate it, and they will. And they use washing machines sometimes, but they also do it in other countries. We don't do all the cleaning at our facility. It really depends. Some of the shoes are cleaned in our facility and repaired there, and then some are done in Chile. And we have videos on our Instagram of the merchants we work with in Chile fixing them. It's their responsibility because they buy them from us, and then it's their business at that point. But we support them and we help them ship it because we're an export company. So it's really turnkey. And the mandates are all the shoes leave the US. We don't want them to be resold here. They're what, is donated by the store for upcycling in developing countries, which is something of great need in the world. And then the other mandate is that we don't ship trash overseas, and we try to send nothing to the landfill. We have ways to recycle a lot of things that we use at our facility, including, pallets, boxes, all these things. And we're even composting now and doing some tree planting, fruit tree planting, other trees. But another mandate is that we don't sell anything online. So everything leaves the country, nothing sold online. That this is our integrity, transparency, and that we don't ship trash overseas. And I think those are the big ones, Matt. Yeah, we have a couple big promises, that we want people to know that, it's really terrible to ship trash to other countries. And I saw an article the other day. I don't want to say anything negative about anyone, but it mentioned Walmart recycled bags. You know how you bring your plastic bags back? This news agency put trackers in them. They put 12 trackers, and some of them made it to the recycling company, which I don't know where it was. I think it was in the US, but 2 or 3 of them made it to another country in Asia. They were shipped over there. And then where it was going, they found a very bad problem of mountains of trash. So it's not like it was just one bag or something. No. Talking about giant shipping containers full of trash that do get shipped to places like India and, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka and some of these countries over there it's terrible. I've seen the documentaries, and we can't ship trash overseas. We need to start getting mindful and work on it locally. And we need to find out ways to reduce it and to convert it into something beneficial for the environment, mainly because we've done so much destruction to the environment. And to be honest, we need to be more mindful about how we take care of the earth, because our founder says there is no planet B. And that's something that we're very passionate about, is there's no planet B. This is it, guys. You know what I mean? But as long as we have a breath, we have hope. So these are we're inspired at Sneaker Impact because we see good in the community. We know people want to recycle, and once they hear about us and other companies doing good, they get involved and keep doing whatever you're doing, whether it's a local church you're giving them to, whether it's a women's shelter, whether it's the vets or the homeless. Keep doing that. And then if you don't have that solution, or you have extra or stuff that doesn't qualify for those programs, you can go to sneakerimpact.com and request a free mailer bag today. And we ship those out every single day of the year to any state in the United States.
Fantastic. One more logistical question. Do you take inserts? So if people have power steps, can they just leave them in? If they're done with them?
You can just leave your inserts in your shoes. We have mountains of all that stuff.
Okay.
The people that buy the shoes end up actually trying to even put new inserts or refurbish the insert or something. They will also the shoelaces, leave everything as it is. We don't need you to do much. We tell the stores, don't even worry about sorting them or, tying them together. We pair them the second they arrive. The boxes land at our facility on our back delivery area, and they come in by the hundreds on a daily basis. It's just amazing how much, the fitness community and the running community has gotten involved in the universities and elementary schools. We pair the shoes up because that's very important. They get rubber banded. I tie them together when I'm at events so I can start the pairing process. But, ideally we get a pair of shoes. If we get a single shoe, unfortunately it will get grinded. That's something I asked about. Yeah, we can't. Yeah. We get 40,000 plus shoes on a daily basis, I've been told. Wow. And I've seen it. And it's just the shoes are always coming in and moving. There's not a lot of stagnation. There is a grinding program, again, that receives the ones that don't qualify for a second life. And that would be a single shoe, unfortunately. But there might be exceptions to that. I don't know everything about the entire process. I just am thinking conceptually from what I've seen by walking the floor. I also am helping build a lot of relationships and going out on the road. So that's what I'm most passionate about, is connecting us in the community and meeting people.
That's awesome.
Again, yes, we will do inserts. Yes, we will recycle the inserts. We've recycled even like snow boots and but certain things have to be taken apart before they can be recycled, like a snow boot, ski boot. I think it was a ski boot was the example.
Okay.
But like soccer shoes, we send a lot of stuff to Latin America. Our primary request is great walking and running shoes. And we say gently used on our packaging and on our website. But to be honest, you can send us any condition as long as it's dry. Just, we don't want to receive all junk in a box from a partner or all junk from the public,
Right.
Because there might be a local solution for the shoe that could be better if you're in Alaska or if we have a partner in Alaska and a partner in Hawaii, and we don't have them ship us end of life shoes. They only ship us quality shoes. And I've seen that, like, a lot of the shoes that we get are brand new, or they've been worn once or 5 times, or they look like all they need is a little wash off and they're good. They have tremendous amounts of life left. It's incredible to see. And sometimes the shoes are brand new. You know what I mean? Like, they just didn't get used because the person didn't like them, or they didn't. There's many reasons why a person might not, they might not felt good on their feet, but they just had them sitting around.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a gift. We get a lot of good shoes. We also get a lot of end of life shoes as well, because we're very vocal about don't throw it in the landfill, so people, as long as it's not completely shredded by a dog to bits and pieces, that should probably go in your trash.
Yeah.
But if it looks like it can be fixed up, and even if it's 20 years old or 10 years old, you'd be surprised, especially running shoes. They're the most valuable in the secondhand market for people in developing countries, Matt, as just a way to live and get around. I'm grateful for John's because they came on board early and they've always been involved. And now you guys you're the first person who's asked me to do a podcast.
Oh, really? Okay.
Thank you for reaching out.
Welcome.
Yeah. Tell me more about your podcast and you and your questions about sustainability, or how you get involved. How do you run and live sustainably is how I always ask people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as for the podcast, pretty much just started it. This is going to be episode 3. And yeah, the Sneaker Impact was one of the first things I thought of because, like I said, customers being pleasantly surprised when they find out they can give us their old shoes.
Yeah.
As a whole, our store believes very much in sustainability, and we do what we can. For example, we're a green check business. Green check is a program in Lexington that encourages local businesses to take as many steps as possible towards sustainability. So we've been a green check business for a few years. We're recertifying this year. So just reviewing our processes and making sure that everything is running as environmentally smoothly as possible. We put on one race every March called the Reforest 5K. We partner with an organization called Reforest Bluegrass, where we're raising money to support this annual April event. Volunteers just show up in the hundreds to plant new trees. And so they've really been expanding the canopy of the Lexington area.
Wow. That's near and dear to my heart. I used to be a forester for 10 years in Wisconsin, and I did tree planting.
Nice.
Yeah, so I applaud you guys. That is something going above and beyond, but it also shows your heart and that you care about, the planet and about your community and about the land and about the people having a quality of life too in your community. That's what tree cities are so important. Like if you're designated a tree city or a green company, like a B Corp or a green check, that's a big thing. And you can build off of that. And that's a great foundation. And your customers, I'm sure, will want to support that.
Yeah. So when we heard about Sneaker Impact, that was a no-brainer. That was just a perfect fit.
How did you hear about Sneaker?
I wasn't there at the time, so we had already been doing it. But just knowing our owner, Melody, our general manager, Riley, they're very big on environmentalism. Melody is beekeeper in her spare time. So yeah. So she's really into that kind of stuff.
And I got to hang out with Riley. Shout out to Riley at Run Summit. Yeah, he was saying that there's, we're going to get you guys some grinded materials. We took these coasters to Run Summit. They were like circular coasters, and they were made out of the grinded bottom of the shoe, and it demonstrates our flooring. That's one thing I forgot to mention. We had we just recently redid our upper office space where I work and where our podcast studio is. We redid the entire floor. It's a pretty big area with recycled shoes, 100% recycled shoes. It's on our Instagram, and we're going to eventually release a document, like a short little, it's interesting. It was our first time really, we did it twice to get it right. And we had to bring in professionals that do tracks, and they taught us how to do it from Puerto Rico. And my boss, our founder, is just super passionate about pushing these innovative projects for use for the end of life shoes, rather than what was happening in full transparency and still happens is some of the grinded shoes go to waste innovation centers, and they are incinerated to create electricity for the grid. So that is actually what happens to a lot of trash in the U.S. Is waste innovation centers is what they call them. They are EPA regulated.
Mm-hmm.
That creates electricity for the grid, and that's better than it just floating in the ocean for sure.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And we have a contract with a local power plant that, takes care of it in a somewhat clean. I would say I don't know the full process. I just know that the ultimate goal is to create a second shoe or a circular, a new shoe or new running products out of the recycled, out of the grinded shoes. You need a 95% purity. So that's our big challenge. Talk challenges. There's challenges, where it's years of research to get. We're not there yet. We're nowhere near 95% yet, but we're using new technology, getting closer, because a lot of effort's been put into it. And we're probably 60 or 70% range or 80%, but getting closer. We're sending it off for testing in Europe and other places for certain foams, because there's like 3 types of rubber or foams, 3 or 4 types in the typical bottom of a shoe, the midsole and outsole. There's EVA or the equivalent. There's TPU, there's rubber. So there's sometimes other materials in there. There's plastics. And people might wonder about the carbon fiber plates.
Yeah.
Those can go right through the grinder.
Okay, good.
We use professional level grinders. We're about to get even a brand new grinder. We've been using a great grinder. It looks great. It kind of looks like something you'd see in like some crazy movie, like some Edward Scissorhands movie or something, or I don't know, like the Willy Wonka factory of shoe recycling. It's so cool. And we've gotten some video of it on our Instagram. We put up some video snippets, and it looks like a giant vacuum cleaner with like a hole in the front that you throw the shoes in, and you cut off the tops first, and then the bottoms go in only. The tops would be grinded in a different way with a different diameter, and they would be more for padding, or just have to probably get, sent to the Waste Solutions Center. But maybe I thought padding would be a good thing, because you can make things from plastics now, even clothing, thread. But basically the upper is not as desirable as the bottom. So the bottom of the shoe, the midsole and outsole, is the desirable part of the end of life product. And we need a 95% purity of those materials before we can get them to the manufacturer to be used again to create a new shoe or other running products. It has to be pure enough. Otherwise, it just doesn't work right, I guess, in the new product. If you think about it, it might not be able to have the same performance or the same durability or the same functionality. It's a work in progress, but our goal is to help create a circular economy where it's negative carbon impacting and green and sustainable, and pretty much a lot of things that we use, Matt, can have a second life. Like, the things you bring home from like grocery store for like certain items, like those clear, they look like Tupperware, but they're, not as durable. You can wash those out containers and reuse them for things like meal prepping, and you can get creative, and you don't have to do everything at once. Like I talked to a running store yesterday at Run Summit that said they use cloth hand towels at their store instead of paper towels. And that's like a small thing, but it sets the culture.
Yeah. Find one thing that you can change, and just one at a time. Like, okay, we took care of that. We made a step forward. What's the next step we can make? And
there's some shoe companies now I met at Run Summit that are, I guess, actually getting really close to a 100% recycled shoe.
Wow.
I'll give a shout out to Hylo, HYLO. I met them. They're doing great work in the Low Impact Alliance. I want to give a huge shout out to. And, also the Running Industry Association has been very supportive. The RIA, which I know John's is a big part of. And I've always seen John's at all of these events. And it's just important to be present, because then you can be part of the community and interact. And it's just been a fun journey. So every day is interesting, a little different. There is a lot of tracking, a lot of data management, a lot of communication, with the many stores we're working with and the events we do. It takes a lot of energy, but it's fun. And if it wasn't fun, then you just gotta find out what you enjoy doing and what makes you happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Bryan, as we wrap up here, last question. I know Sneaker Impact is a pretty young company. You've only been around for a few years, but what are some of the long-term goals and aspirations that you have?
I think our long-term goals as a company are to keep expanding. We are expanding into Canada and Europe currently. Nice. With distribution centers, and maybe have a West Coast facility. We're based in Miami. So just having the capabilities to, and, we can ship all over, but we're growing our team slowly but surely. I can't do everything. Our founder can't do everything. The 3 or 4 people working right now in the company, or 5, it's a very small group of people. I think that just keep reducing that shocking statistic of 87% of shoes not getting recycled. That is our competition. The landfill is our competition, is what our founder on day one sat down with me and we talked about. It's not Goodwill. We love Goodwill. I love Goodwill. I go there all the time. All the local charities that are doing great work, other recycling entities, they're not our competition. Altogether, we're getting 13% of the shoes that are getting thrown away. So the competition is the landfill. That is a big concept to take home. And that's like my closing thought is, we are going after that shocking statistic of 87% and doing our best to take out 20, 30, 40, 50% of that in the next couple of years, so that people really think Sneaker Impact recycling, your shoes, just like they think of John's for the best, advice and best staff and best products for the running industry. Hopefully Sneaker Impact will be synonymous with recycling.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Bryan. And you, Sneaker Impact, keep up the amazing work.
Thank you, and good luck with your podcast. This was really fun.